Before we begin, find a quiet place. Dim the lights and let the room settle until it's just you and the sound. This episode is best experienced with headphones, in a quiet, reflective space. It contains themes of love, loss, death, and the afterlife, so please listen with care. Some moments may evoke emotion or contemplation, but as always, our purpose is understanding, not fear. Now let's begin. Tonight, we walk the edge between love and loss, between life and whatever waits beneath it. Welcome back to Beyond Haunted UK. Tonight, our path doesn't lead to a haunted house or forgotten prison. It leads somewhere far older, into the myth of Orpheus, a man whose song could calm storms and soften stone, a mortal whose heart reached further than the living world would allow. This isn't just a tale of death and love. It's a story about trust, loss, and the light that still waits when everything else fades. They said when Orpheus played, the rivers slowed, the trees leaned closer, and even the wildest beasts grew still, lulled by the sound. His music was said to come from somewhere beyond him, a gift from the gods, or maybe something older. Beside him was Eurydice, his muse, a woman whose laughter was its own melody. Together they seemed unbreakable, two notes from the same song. But one afternoon, under a sky that shimmered like glass, a serpent's bite changed everything. By nightfall, Eurydice was gone. The song that once charmed the world became silence, and silence can be the heaviest sound of all. Orpheus played no more. He wandered, hollow-eyed, until grief became his only guide. They say grief opens doors that reason cannot, and Orpheus found one and stepped through. He travelled beyond the mountains, past the rivers, until he reached the mouth of the underworld, where no living man was meant to go. Each step downward echoed like a heartbeat. His lyre, clutched tight, answered with a trembling chord. Through endless caverns he played, notes that sounded like tears, like longing and like prayer. And the dead listened. They gathered in silence, their faces pale in the dark, remembering what it felt like to feel. When he reached the throne of Hades and Persephone, he did not beg. He played. A song of love that refused to die. A melody that spoke of all we reach for when we lose what we cannot replace. Even Hades turned away, and Persephone's eyes softened. She whispered, "Let her go." And so the impossible happened. Eurydice was returned. But there was one condition. He must not look back until they reached the world above. They began to climb a long, narrow path, curling upward through shadow. Behind him came the faint sound of her footsteps, light as falling dust. But doubt is patient. It whispers. It grows teeth. What if she isn't there? What if the gods lied? What if the silence means she's already gone? Near the surface, a single ray of daylight spilled down. He hesitated and turned. And just like that, she was gone. A breath of light fading into nothing. Some say she smiled as she vanished. Some say she tried to speak his name, but the sound never reached him. He fell to his knees as the world went quiet, and all he could do was play. Orpheus's story should have ended there, but it never did. Every love song that aches, every melody that feels like morning, that's him. The myth became a mirror, a reflection of the human need to cross the veil, to find the ones we've lost, to make the silence answer back. Centuries later, scientists chasing voices through static call it instrumental transcommunication, EVP, or electronic voice phenomena. The idea that the dead can still respond, if you know how to listen. They describe the Orphic pattern: a call, a reply, then fading, always fading before full connection. Even NASA's deep space recordings, the strange harmonic pulses of Saturn's rings, sound almost human. Maybe we never stopped searching for the underworld. We just started calling it space. So what do we learn from Orpheus? That love can move mountains, but doubt can break them. That the hardest journeys aren't through death, but through grief. And sometimes the truest courage isn't in looking back, it's in moving forward. Even when the path is dim, and even when the dark calls your name, just keep walking. There is light ahead, even if you can't see it yet. And when you finally rise, you'll realise the underworld was never home. Because the living belong to the light. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the leaving. It's the believing that you deserve to. But freedom begins the moment you stop listening to fear and start listening to yourself. You are not lost. You're finding your way back. When you hear a melody that feels like it was written just for you, listen. It may well be reminding you that your story isn't over. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to step out of the dark. You don't owe the shadows your silence. And when you reach the light, the world will meet you halfway. So keep listening, keep rising, and remember, no one walks out of darkness empty-handed. You carry the song with you. Before you go, don't forget to follow Beyond Haunted UK on Spotify and across social media. Every follow, every share, and every message helps this community grow and keeps these stories alive. You'll find us wherever the strange and the paranormal meet. And until next time, whatever waits in the dark, leave the lights on.